Welcome to the IME Community Podcast, where self-love is your superpower to achieve your weight and life goals and make your mark in the world. Your host is Dr. Carla, activist, MD. If you're a teen who's looking to revolutionize your health and can't wait to follow your dreams, welcome to the IME Community.
So today we're talking about bullying. Welcome to the podcast. This is Dr. Carla. So this is going to be a powerful podcast, one that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and it's a YouTube video too. Okay, hope you're all doing really well. And just to kind of let you know with a warning that we're going to be talking about bullying. We're talking about weight-based victimization, weight bullying in teens, how we can identify it, how we can help, how we can get resources to teens who need them, and set some boundaries. As a coach, that's super important to me. So recently, by the way, I hope you all are doing great and you're staying healthy and well. I'm thinking of everybody during COVID as we're still stuck in COVID, but I hope you're healthy and well, and I hope if you can get vaccinated that you can. All right, so I was recently coaching in the member community, which I do every week and I love. And teens are awesome, soak up life coaching. And one of the things I was telling them, sharing with them, is that, taking care of a lot of patients and teens in my pediatric weight management clinic that I started and I was the medical director of. But this was like pre-coaching, and this was pre my weight loss journey. And I remember having, obviously many of my patients who came in and talked about bullying, or their parents would share it because maybe the teen didn't want, or the child didn't want to share that was going on for a number of good reasons. And obviously I've been bullied, and if you've been bullied before, you know how this goes. You really don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you're afraid to talk about it, but I had many situations that were shared with me and our team, and we did our best, and I think we did a good job of supporting the families and the patients, obviously, and following up and working with the schools, and did as much as we could. But it I think as a coach, it's so much more powerful to be able to work and to coach and to create what we call a level of, it's more than self-confidence, it's like an agency about yourself, so where you can start to really set boundaries for yourself and hold true to those boundaries, and then that's really super powerful and empowering. And at the same time, we're not blaming the victim or saying that it's all on the victim, even though we don't even want to use those words, because the bully and the victim are kind of in the same boat with the effects and risk factors. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was a patient that I had, and I had taken care of her for a long time, and she had really struggled with her weight her whole life. And when she was in high school, she told me about when she was in clinic that she had a kid in her class who sat behind her and diagonally to her, who would stare at her the entire time. And it really creeped her out, obviously. And she really didn't know what to do about it. And she couldn't concentrate in class. And of course, she thought that it was due to her weight, because he had bullied her about that before. And so, I know we have an amazing social worker on our team who really worked with her, and the mom, of course, wanted to intervene, and I think she had, from what I can remember, mom had threatened that she was going to intervene, and the teen didn't, want her to. She was like, no, I don't want to deal with it, So we worked on it, and then it kind of went away. I didn't remember her bringing it up in subsequent visits. But what I did in my coaching community, in the member community, which if you're a teen 12 to 18 or parent of a teen, you're going to want to join the IME member community, or join it for your teen. So it's just $24.95 a month. It's amazing, and it's so powerful. So we work through all of these kinds of issues. But I asked them to coach me, my teen members. I said, why don't you all coach me? And last week we were talking about boundaries. So we finished up the 12 weeks of the Reverse Your Insulin Resistance Challenge on relationships and boundaries. And I'm so excited because I'm going to be getting out an ebook. So if you're an IME member, a part of the community, then you're going to get that for free. So it's 12 weeks of amazingness plus my coaching. So cool. Show up, sign up for that. You don't want to miss out. So anyway, we talked about relationships and boundaries last week when I was coaching in the community. And so I thought this week would be great for them to kind of coach me and to help me from the framework of that patient. And I wish I could go back in time, like hindsight's 20/20. I wish I could go back in time and coach her on that situation. But I had them coach me, and then we talked through, ways that that she could like set boundaries, and that she isn't helpless, and how the thoughts are kind of creating that feeling of kind of being stuck, annoyed, and helpless, and that there are ways that she can address it for herself. And once you start to make a powerful decision and make a decision like ahead of time with how she wanted to show up, that brings more clarity for like the next powerful step. I'm sorry. So anyway, really cool, really great coaching that the teen members gave me, and really great thoughts that I'm going to share with you all. So anyway, what is bullying? So one of the things that we get wrong is that we think, and in the past generations, and still now today, a lot of people think this, that bullying is like a rite of passage, that it's just a part of growing up, and it's just what we have to go through, and it's a part of becoming an adult, and it's really, that is such a false thing and so dangerous to think that. Bullying is a preventable health problem. It has lasting impacts. It's like a trauma. It's like one of the adverse childhood experiences. I talked about this in, I think it was week 11 of the challenge. I talked about ACEs. And so bullying can be a part of, if you experience this, one of the adverse childhood experiences that some people, more than we want to admit, experience. And so we can do better. And I know obviously from the teens that I've taken care of, and children and patients and families I've worked with, that weight can be one of the issues that children and teens get bullied on. So it's called weight-based victimization. So what's the definition of bullying? So the CDC defines bullying as any unwanted aggressive behavior by another youth or group of youths who are not siblings or current dating partners that involves an observed or perceived power imbalance and is repeated multiple times, or is highly likely to be repeated. And it can inflict harm or distress on the targeted youth, including physical, psychological, social, or educational harm. Cyberbullying, which I see that a lot when I'm on TikTok, cyberbullying uses social media and other electronic means in order to hurt others. And it's different from traditional bullying in that it can be done anytime. It's often anonymously, right? These people are just hiding behind their keyboards. And it spreads, unfortunately, to a greater audience quickly. I had one person I was coaching who experienced like being blocked, and then other people would block based on this person. I'm like, wait, that's just actually cyberbullying, and let's call it what it is. It's bullying, it's cyberbullying. So young people involved, as both bullies and victims, are frequent users of electronic media, so there's significant overlap in the characteristics of traditional and cyberbullying. Okay. So, lots of back and forth here too. Like some people who are, like they call it the bully victim. So the children who not only bully other children, also oftentimes victims of bullying. One thing I do coach on a lot though was like, let's not get in their lane. Let's not get in their business where we think, first of all, like they shouldn't be doing it. Yeah, right. But when we're sitting there thinking they shouldn't be doing it, they shouldn't be bullying me, they shouldn't be harassing me, they shouldn't be doing this, then we spend all of our time thinking of that, kind of we get stuck in that. And then maybe we go to convince them they shouldn't be doing that. Maybe we start to overfunction. Maybe we think that we need to change something about ourselves so that we wouldn't be a target for their bullying. And that's what what I coach on is like staying away from that kind of thinking and try to have reality based. Like this is actually the situation that is happening. And these are the words that are said, because thinking they shouldn't be doing it isn't going to help us create any boundaries for ourselves. I mean, I'm going to agree with you on that they shouldn't be doing that. But it's just that we need to transition to like, this is actually happening and call it what it is. This is bullying and this is happening. So bully and victim engage in more acts of bullying compared with the pure bully, experiences more thoughts of self-harm, and is more likely to have mental health issues in childhood and more intense anxiety and depression, is more likely to smoke and participate in other substance abuse, is less likely to graduate high school, experiences more intense anxiety and depression, and is more likely to be socially isolated and may not have friends. Go to stopbullying.gov, which is a very helpful website. So whether you're a teen, you're a parent, you're an educator, or a physician, that's where you're going to find a lot of helpful resources. So let's talk about what doesn't work when we're talking about bullying. So ignoring, like I said before, or thinking of bullying as a rite of passage, blaming the victim, retaliating, calling the parent of the child who bullied, that we want to do that as parents, but it's not helpful. School suspension or zero tolerance policies typically don't work. Condemning the child who bullied, it's hard. Taking away a device, those consequences don't typically work. So the intervention, especially like if you're a pediatrician trying to work with your patient, and it depends on the circumstances. So you want to individualize your approach, obviously. If it's an emergency, so if you're a parent, you're a pediatrician, you're a teacher, an educator who is, or a community member, if you believe you need to contact law enforcement, if the child or teen is in imminent danger, or physical, like assault, sexual assault, please call 911 right away. If concerns about suicidality or homicidality, contact a mental health professional and a transport to the nearest ED, or obviously call 911. Non-emergency, so those are going to be most of the cases that parents are going to be dealing with, that we're going to be dealing with as pediatricians in the office setting. So we want to focus on 6 different areas for helpful intervention for bullying. So support, building skills, that's what I've been talking about with the coaching, providing resources, school involvement, referral, and follow-up. So what is non-emergency? So what does support look like? First of all, we need to be telling the child or the teen to let them know bullying is unacceptable. Also, it's not your fault. People in your life can help you at home and at school. Ensure that there's caregiver support, the connection, and healthy relationships in the home. So asking questions like, are there household members who bully or fight each other? Do the household members support each other? Has there been a divorce or separation in the household? And are there any other recent stressors in the child's life? And then building skills. So like I said, this is kind of some of the coaching. And then my IME Community team members were coaching me on it as I was playing my patient. And they were amazing coaches. So building skills to respond to traditional bullying through role playing, which is what we did when we were coaching. So being very firm and clear, so having a clarity. So with coaching, we can decide how you want to show up ahead of time, and we can tell the bully to stop in a firm voice, like, you don't scare me. And how they were coaching on in the community, the teens were saying, I figured that the bully is really wanting the power and the control. So if she doesn't even take the bait, then they're going to lose the power, and that's what they really want, and then it'll kind of go away, which may be the case. But suggestion was just being really honest and creating boundaries with words and saying, I'm very uncomfortable, please stop staring at me. And then also creating, we talked about boundaries having consequences, so that you verbalize what the consequence is going to be, and then you follow through on that. So she can tell the bully, I am uncomfortable with this, please stop doing this, or you need to stop doing this, like in a really clear voice. If he doesn't, then you can either say, she could either say if she wants to, or say if he continues to stare at her, I'm going to, I asked you to stop, you're going to need to stop, but I'm going to talk to the teacher about it, or I'm going to move myself. So physically distance. Also talking to a trusted adult, walking away with confidence. If the bullying continues, definitely talking to the teacher. Telling an adult can help you feel less alone, and adults can help you make a plan to stop the bullying. Obviously encouraging other friendships, and there is data on bystanders who, when other peers will intervene, that then the bullying will stop within a very short period of time. So we really need to empower other peers to be advocates, to show up in a way that sticks up for their values, and not be afraid to speak with confidence for other people, to protect other people. So build skills to respond to cyberbullying is, we don't want to respond or forward or like. I was in TikTok, and my teen members were like, why did you like that? And I was like, that comment that is in disagreement. I'm like, but then I did a reply to it. And they're like, no. And so they coached me actually on that stuff. So don't respond, forward, or like cyberbullying comments. Keep the evidence, the dates, times, the description, screenshots, emails, and texts. Block the person who is cyberbullying. Talk to a trusted adult. Report as indicated. So maybe, I've reported people on TikTok a lot. Maybe if there's a threat of violence or a hate crime, you need to speak with law enforcement. Obviously report at the schools. And then we all need to learn, and pediatricians and parents, we can focus on our own, but also helping our children and our teens with digital citizenship. So encouraging parents, please have discussions about online behaviors and real world consequences. And then, these platforms are always so like one dimensional, right? I mean, it's so funny to see, like, sometimes I just have to laugh at some of them, and then others you want to cry, or you just become enraged. But people just assume they know everything about you based on maybe one short video or post, and they feel entitled to make these ridiculous statements. And so, you can decide ahead of time with some intentionality how you want to show up on social media, and just get a little bit ahead of it, and where you want to put your attentional focus. I have to be really focused on that myself as I'm building IME Community social media presence. Okay. Messages for parents of the child who bullies. So if you are a parent and your child has bullied, set firm limits. Bullying is never okay. Be positive role models. Use healthy discipline. Obviously avoid any sort of corporal punishment. Work with teachers and the school counselors. Be open. Work with them as a team. Invite the follow-up, invite discussions. You may want to have your teen or child if they are bullying, referred and take them to a counselor. Focus on anger management, emotional control. Providing resources. So stopbullying.gov is a good resource. And then it talks about like what you can do if you're the child who's bullied, the bystander, and the parent. There's different sections in stopbullying.gov that have bullying, cyberbullying, prevention, and resources. There's sections on youth at risk, so including LGBTQ, children and teens with disabilities are obviously at more risk, and then we know children and teens with chronic diseases like obesity are at higher risk of being bullied. Cyberbullying, there's a section under stopbullying.gov addressing cyberbullying, talks about digital awareness, establishing rules, and reporting. And again, we're talking about heavy stuff here, so I'm going to tell you again, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. Please call if there are any issues at all. School involvement. So how can doctors, how can parents work with the schools? Most schools have policies related to bullying, and they do want to be involved in the situation, especially maybe early on before it gets to a point that it has become really difficult for the victim to where your child or teen may not want to go to school. They may develop anxiety. They may have poor school performance, and so we know that the schools, the teachers, and the school counselor, especially, are the ones to first reach out to help become involved in the solution. What about referral? You may need referral for a social worker, psychologist, a licensed mental health provider, other community organizations to connect with. Obviously, IME Community is an amazing life and weight coaching platform for teens. It's a supportive community, and I love coaching. Coaching helps with goal setting and problem solving and taking massive action and creating a personal vision and creating thought awareness, and it's amazing. At the same time, life coaching is not therapy. So I want to make sure that we know that. And so for life coaches, I don't, even though as a pediatrician I did when I was in practice, I'm not your child or teen's pediatrician, and I am not a therapist. So I'm going to encourage you always to work with a licensed mental health provider, okay? And then follow-up, making sure that we're addressing it. How is that going? Offer follow-up, especially if no improvement or if there are ongoing concerns. These are chronic issues, okay? So make sure we offer follow-up. So the role, if you're a pediatrician, the role is, and this is just really helpful for parents too, identification, gathering more information, what are the interventions, and then advocacy, education, and outreach, because that's what we do when we're pediatricians. That's why we go into this whole thing. Many states have anti-bullying laws and policies. Again, you can check on stopbullying.gov for those. More information. We can look at bullying prevention, so looking at ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences Screening and Assessment within practice, including assessing for any unhealthy parenting strategies that are happening in the home, and educating parents during each well child check about healthy discipline strategies. So like I said, a lot of times the patients, the children, the teens, maybe they don't want to, and this is helpful for parents too, maybe they don't want to talk about it. So, but you can ask to identify it. Is anyone giving you a hard time at school? Who, if anyone, do you sit with for lunch, to kind of get an idea of the friends they have? Gather more information if that someone is giving them a hard time at school. Ask what happened, when, where, and just listen. So the children and teens who are more at risk are those with poor social skills, anxieties, who are LGBTQ, or have chronic diseases. And then the intervention. that I talked about. So first, it's not your fault. Bullying is never okay. Building the skills, role playing, stopbullying.gov, check it out. Involving the school, consider mental health referral, and don't go longer than 2 months for follow-up. And then also make yourself available, of course, if you're the pediatrician or the physician or healthcare provider who is helping to support the child, teen, and the parents in this issue. Advocacy, education, and outreach. Again, check out stopbullying.gov, but we can review where you can review your state's policies and maybe do something within your practice to kind of look at screening and getting resources to families, and that's what we call quality improvement. Okay, so for more information, again, I'm going to tell you a few resources. So go to stopbullying.gov. You can look at the science, policy, and practice through the National Academy of Medicine and go to Preventing Bullying Through Science, Policy, and Practice. That's a website. And you can also check out an article that I referred to during this YouTube video and podcast, and that's contemporarypediatrics.com, how to identify and treat bullying. And it's a really good article from 2019. And now we're seeing more, I'm sure, of this through after the COVID pandemic and more social anxieties. And so we're going to just be learning a lot more. So we have to really support and help and love our teens and our children and help them through these issues and really work on coaching them to help them decide how they want to show up, have the confidence to set boundaries. All right. Thank you all. I will talk to you soon. Okay. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the IME Community Podcast, where self-love is your superpower. The content of this podcast represents the opinions of Dr. Carla Lester and is not intended as, and shall not be understood as, a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The opinions shared reflect the host and guest and do not represent an organization or medical group. Always seek the advice of your physician or therapist if you have concerns about your health. And please, like and subscribe to the IME Community Podcast. Share IME with your friends and go to imecommunity.com to join the member community. Don't forget to follow IME on social.